Why is it that some people seem to walk through life like they've got a direct line to heaven? Like they feel God in every sunrise, every struggle, every quiet moment in the chaos? You talk to them, and it's like they carry peace in their pocket. While the rest of us are trying to pray without getting distracted, they're over there weeping during worship, feeling deeply connected, like God is right there breathing next to them. Why does it feel so natural for them and so distant for others? Here's the thing. They weren't born different. They didn't come with a secret code or special access, but what they do have is something most of us overlook: awareness. A tuned-in, intentional awareness of God's presence in the big and the small, the loud and the silent. Some people experience God like a heartbeat, constant, steady, always there, even if they're not always thinking about it. But it didn't start that way. It was built. Like any relationship, it grew with time, with attention, with moments of wrestling and wondering and waiting. They didn't just seek God on Sundays or in emergencies. They made room. In the silence before the day begins, in the music they listen to, in the way they forgive others, in how they breathe during the hard moments instead of breaking. For them, God's presence isn't something they chase, it's something they rest in. And maybe that's the biggest difference. They've stopped performing, stopped trying to be holy enough or perfect enough or spiritual enough to earn God's closeness. Instead, they show up messy, honest, raw. And in that honesty, they meet a God who doesn't require a mask, just presence. But let's be real, feeling God's presence doesn't always look like light beams from heaven or chills down your spine. Sometimes it's just the calm in the middle of your anxiety, the whisper that says keep going when you're ready to quit. The random song that hits your soul just right. The tears you didn't expect during a simple prayer. That's Him, too. And if you're thinking, I've tried, but I don't feel anything, you're not alone. It's easy to feel disconnected, to wonder if you're doing something wrong, to compare your quiet time to someone else's highlight reel of spiritual moments. But comparison is a thief, especially in your walk with God. Some people feel God's presence during deep worship, others while walking in nature, some when reading scripture, others through art, music, serving, or even silence. There's no one-size-fits-all way to connect with the creator of the universe. He meets us in different ways because He made us different, and that's the beauty of it. Thank you for being here, for following along, for choosing to dig deeper into something that actually matters. Whether you've been walking with God for years or you're still figuring it all out, your presence in this space matters. Your hunger for more, it's noticed, and more than that, it's honored. Let's break another myth. That feeling God's presence always means you're on a spiritual high, that everything in your life is going right. Truth is, some of the closest moments with God come in the darkest valleys, when you're crying on your bathroom floor, when the prayer isn't answered, when you feel alone, but still reach out. Those are the sacred moments, the real ones. When faith isn't just a vibe, it's a lifeline. When God isn't just your comfort, He's your only option. And somehow He shows up, not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. It's not about chasing a feeling, it's about cultivating a friendship. You don't feel your best friend's presence every second of the day, but you trust they're there. You know their voice. You know their character. It's the same with God. The more you know Him, the more you'll recognize Him, even in the silence. And silence doesn't mean absence. Sometimes God is loud. Sometimes He's subtle. Sometimes He hides not to punish you, but to pull you closer, to stir your hunger, to remind you that He's not a vending machine of good vibes, but a person, a father, a friend. People who always feel God's presence, they've learned to look for Him in everything. In the way the sun hits the leaves, in the kindness of a stranger, in laughter, in tears, in breath. They don't wait for the miraculous, they find the divine in the daily. And the more they do, the more present He feels. But that kind of awareness takes practice. It takes being still when everything inside you wants to scroll. It takes choosing prayer when distraction feels easier. It takes honesty in your journal, humility in your worship, and trust even when the feeling isn't there. Here's the beautiful truth. You can get there too. You're not disqualified. You're not too far gone. You don't need to clean up first. God isn't waiting for you to perform. He's waiting for you to notice. And once you start looking, really looking, you'll realize he's been near all along. Even now, in this moment, while you're reading this, that stirring in your heart, that's not just emotion. That's him, that quiet pull. That thought that maybe you're not alone in this after all. That's him. So if you want to feel God's presence more, start by inviting him into the little moments. Not just church. Invite him into your drive to work, your late night overthinking, your morning coffee, your anxiety spiral, your heartbreak, your joy. Let him in. Not with fancy words, but with real ones. God, I don't feel you, but I want to. God, I'm tired, but I'm here. God, speak to me, even if it's just a whisper. That's where it begins. And don't rush it. God isn't on your timeline. He's not withholding himself to frustrate you. He's preparing you to recognize him, to not confuse his presence with good circumstances, to know him in a way that sticks, even when life falls apart. Because when you really know him, when you felt that peace in the middle of a storm, that hope in the pit, that love that makes no sense, you carry it with you. You walk different, you pray different, you live different. So if you've ever wondered, why do some people always feel God's presence? Maybe it's because they've stopped waiting for it to show up and started living like it already has. Because it has. And so has he.